Welcome back to this week's Game News Show. We've got some Half-Life 3 information that I don't know if it's real enough. We've got more info on the Switch 2 as usual. StarWars Battlefront II makes a big comeback, and Marathon is still in trouble. Let's get into the game news this week. Sony's Days of Play 2025 has been announced, and starting May 28th, we have a series of deals and things that people are looking forward to. People are making sort of a big deal out of. I don't really know for sure. But here's the PlayStation blog's own write-up on it. It's official. Days of Play is back for 2025. We're kicking off the celebration on May 28th with community activities, new content coming to PlayStation Plus, and great offers on PS5 consoles, games, and accessories. So let's just jump into it. June monthly games are shown a whole week early. 2K25, Alone in the Dark, the 2024 remake? I don't know if it was a remake or a sequel. Bomb Rush Cyberpunk, which everyone should absolutely play. And Destiny 2, The Final Shape, which is just Destiny 2's like DLC situation. Very cool. June 3rd, most of these are available. Destiny 2's The Final Shape is on May 28th. So hey, if you're still playing Destiny 2 and playing on PlayStation, you've got new stuff to play, unless you're up to date, and then it doesn't matter. Bonus titles for Game Catalog and Classic Catalog: Another Crab's Treasure, Skull and Bones, Destiny 2 Legacy Collection, and Grand Theft Auto 3 the Definitive Edition, which is kind of cool. Riding that GTA hype. And then the Classics Catalog, I believe these are the PS1 versions of Riven, or Myst, and Riven, the sequel to Myst, which I love this series. It's so good. Very fun. Very cool to see, Myst getting some attention on PlayStation. Then in game trials, I don't know that anybody's super interested in the game trials, but Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 and Civilization 7, which is neat. Final Shape is a dad bod. Nice, Will. Then they're doing a 2K25 tournament. I guess because the game's also hitting the PS Plus monthly free games. But let's get down to the deals, which I think a lot of people have talked about online over the last day or so that this blog has been up. All right, so in the United States and Canada, PS5 console, Call of Duty Black Ops 6 bundle, digital and standard, will be available starting at $399, $509.99 Canadian. Save up to $119.99 compared to buying separately. Select regions such as Europe and Asia, PS5 console will be on promotion starting at €399 or 65,980 yen. $50 off the PS5 Pro console. So you can get the Call of Duty bundle for the standard console for $400, which is nice for the digital. Like if you're going all digital, $400, that's cool. That's reasonable. Be offers for PS5 accessories and games, including $50 off PlayStation VR 2 and VR 2 Horizon Call of the Mountain bundle, $30 off Pulse Explorer wireless earbuds, $30 off DualSense Edge wireless controller, $20 off the Access controller, which is their accessibility controller, which was kind of neat when it got announced. $20 off a regular DualSense wireless controller, and then various discounts on PS5 games, including Astrobot, MLB The Show 25, Last of Us Part 2 Remastered, and Lego Horizon Adventures. And then on PlayStation.com, get exclusive offers like Shapes of Play on products like Shapes of Play, PS5 console covers, and other PS5 accessories like external storage drives, and more when ordering directly from PlayStation. Free shipping and other stuff. So that's kind of cool. Discounts on PlayStation Plus memberships, new or upgraded PS Plus. During this year's celebration, save up to 33% on 12-month memberships. Players who are currently a PlayStation Plus Essential or Extra member save 33% on the remainder of your membership when upgrading to PlayStation Plus Premium/Deluxe. So there you go. Apparently movies as well, but we're not talking about movies here. Anyway, decent set of sales. If you were wanting to grab some PlayStation hardware, now's the time. You got a couple of weeks for these discounts to hit. So that's kind of cool. All right, let's move on to the next thing. Apple makes its first ever game developer acquisition, but insists it's not the start of a trend. This is Andy Robinson over at VGC. Apple Arcade made its first ever acquisition of a video game developer, but claims the move isn't indicative of a change in direction for the iPhone maker. Rack7, the two-person developer behind the Apple Arcade's hit Sneaky Sasquatch, will continue its partnership with Apple as an internal studio. Sorry, I gotta turn this music down. It's like way too loud in my ears. Let's see. Continuous partnership with Apple as an internal studio. It announced on Tuesday. We love Sneaky Sasquatch and are excited that the two-person Rack7 team has joined Apple to continue their work with us. A spokesperson told Digital Trends. We'll continue to deliver a great experience for Apple Arcade players with hundreds of games from many of the best game developers in the world. Apple reportedly went on to note that the move was a unique circumstance as it saw an opportunity to help the team grow with Apple Arcade subscription service. The acquisition doesn't necessarily signal the beginning of a new gaming strategy, it said, and Apple will continue to work with third-party studios to create games for arcade. Speaking of Digital Trends last year, Apple Arcade Senior Director Alex Rothman cited Rack7's Sneaky Sasquatch as one of the service's major success stories. We hear from customers all over the world whose kids want Sneaky Sasquatch birthday parties, he said. That's wild. I've never played this game. My kid might like it, though. Haven't even messed with it. But very interesting. Very cool for the developers, Rack7, be picked up by Apple. I'm wondering if Apple has any plans to revamp the Apple Arcade service or give it its own standalone app. Maybe enter the cloud services, to compete with Xbox, PlayStation, and Nvidia directly. Who knows? I don't know. That's cool. Congrats, team. Like, the financial support of Apple, as long as they don't take you over and redirect every project you had on the books, it'll be a good partnership. But that remains to be seen. All right, moving on. Half-Life 3 has been designed to be the final chapter, it's claimed. This is from Sam Sepiol at Insider Gaming. According to a new claim, Half-Life 3 is being developed as the last entry for the franchise. I think at this point, I need to see this game to believe it, because as far as I know, Half-Life 2 Episode 2 is the last entry for the franchise. No, I'm sorry. Half-Life Alyx does exist. That's the last entry for the franchise, as far as I know. This doesn't exist. Yeah, I can't play it yet. So if that's their plan, let it actually come out. Anyway, I'm sorry. We need to read on. The information comes from Daniel RPK via comicbook.com, who has stated in their latest report that Valve is developing Half-Life 3 as the final chapter of the franchise. It is unknown whether this would be just the end of the mainline entries or the spin-off games too. Half-Life 2 was released more than 2 decades ago, and we are yet to hear anything official about Half-Life 3 from Valve. Considering that, it's understandable why the developers wouldn't want the fans to wait another 20 years for another installment. But that's just speculation. There's no official word from Valve on Half-Life 3. And that's the thing. We haven't had any official confirmation. No teaser, no Steam listing, nothing that we can go on concretely to say this game's coming out. Fans on r Gaming Leaks and Rumors over on Reddit are in splits. Some are unhappy that they cannot play another entry in the franchise. On the other hand, some are happy that they will not receive another cliffhanger. The rest just want the game to be released by any means. A report from late last year said that HLX, or Half-Life 3, has already reached the playtest phase. We also heard, as early as this month, that the game is reportedly playable end-to-end. The source revealed that the game is the furthest it's ever been, and the developers are in the process of optimizing and polishing the game. Moreover, it was claimed that it is already content-locked, or at least mechanic-locked. So yeah, that's the article. I hate that they do these little blurbs at the end that go on to talk about something else. But if this is coming, I mean, imagine having been around long enough to see Half-Life 2 come and go, and then the episodic releases were supposed to expand the plot, which they did, but they were also cut short. We didn't get episode 3 like we were promised, and now we're talking about Half-Life 3. Did we really? What year is this? What universe are we in? It's just weird to me that this is actually happening. But we have no official confirmation. But we've been hearing behind the scenes stuff for Half-Life 3 for so long now. I hope it's real though. I do. I can be a believer. I want to believe, right? I need to see it. I need to see something. Give me a trailer. Give me a screenshot. Give me something from this game to let me know that it's actually being worked on and being released soon-ish. I don't know. Probably be next year. 2028 probably is what I'm thinking. All right, let's move on. All right, I thought this was cool. Claire Obscure Expedition 33 posted 33 days ago. We released Claire Obscure Expedition 33. Since then, we sold 3.3 million copies. Seriously, as of today, we couldn't make that up. Another entry on the long list of surreal moments that your support has made real. Tomorrow comes. And then their cool graphic, 3.3 million copies sold. This is awesome. This game is doing very well. They have other stuff in the works. It's good to hear. The studio definitely deserves all the praise they're getting. I'm just excited to see what they do. So congrats. All right, let's move on. Tis that time of the year for Half-Life 3 rumors. I guess so will. All right, I thought this was interesting. Andrew Heighton writes on Insider Gaming, Mario Kart World development began in 2017 and was nearly on Switch 1, not Switch 2. The Switch 2 is the home of Mario Kart World. It carries on the racing series legacy, and an interesting interview with key members of the game's development team has revealed the sequel wasn't initially slated for the Switch 2. Mario Kart World's development team was recently interviewed by Nintendo, which included Kosuke Yabuki, producer, Kenta Sato, programming director, Masaki Ishikawa, art director, Shintaro Jikumaru, leader of the planning team, and Atsuko Asahi, music lead. So very cool. A lot of names involved. I'm sorry if I butchered any of them. Remember, I'm a Southern American. During the conversation, they discussed the game's original goals. Mario Kart World was intended for Switch 1, not Switch 2. Development on the Mario Kart World began as early as 2017. We were thinking about what to do for the next Mario Kart game, even during the development of Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, and we began prototyping in March 2017. It was at the end of that year when we officially started work on it as a project. After realizing Mario Kart World's scope was becoming too grand, the team decided they didn't want to make any sacrifices to the core experience. We worked on it while kicking the can down the road in terms of deciding what to give up on. So at some point, we knew it was going to be messy, but we decided to release Mario Kart 8 Deluxe Booster Course Pass. We thought that it would give us a bit more time to continue development. That's when the conversation of it moving to the Switch 2 system came up, and this suddenly opened up a bunch of possibilities on what we could do. It was truly a ray of hope. The idea to shift gears toward the Switch 2 happened as early as 2020, Sato explained. When we were developing for the Nintendo Switch, we often worried whether we could find the right balance between planning and performance. Of course, the Switch system's performance is sufficient for developing different kinds of games, but if we had included everything we wanted to in this game's vast world, then it wouldn't have run at 60 FPS and would have suffered from constant frame rate drops. Oof. I believe it, though. The power of the Switch 2 has led to Mario Kart World's creation and the team achieving their vision. It's set to launch as a Nintendo Switch 2 exclusive, and it's unlikely we'll ever see it come to Switch 1. Are you disappointed by this? Let us know. No, don't. Well, let me know in the comments, but you can go to Insider Gaming and comment all you want. I won't stop you. But it's wild to think about these, we were in 2020. Switch was still new. I mean, that was Animal Crossing's heyday, right? On the Switch 1. And even then it was like, hey, it's not strong enough to run our game the way we want it to run. So it's nice to see that we've got teams working first party at Nintendo that can go, hey, the hardware's cool and all, but we need more. And I think that's why the Switch 2 is so safe compared to like the jump from GameCube to Wii, where it was totally different, and then from Wii U to Switch is very different. We're going from Switch to Switch 2. It's very safe, but more powerful. It's more dedicated. It's, it's what you would expect a sequel system to do for something as successful as the Switch 1. And it's not because, any reason other than, hey, the Switch 1 needed more power, and the only way to do it was to make a new system. So there you go. That's cool. I would like to see the Switch 1 build. I wonder if any footage exists of the game running on Switch 1 and how bad it would have been. I'm just curious. Anyway. All right. Nintendo Insider gives us Nintendo Switch 2 unboxing reveals system update required for console to work. Note, I'm not showing the video of the unboxing. This is one frame of the box, which the box art is publicly available. It's been out for a couple of weeks, I think, at this point, maybe a week. But anyway, this is a very short article from Alex Seedhouse at Nintendo Insider. Switch 2 consoles are out in the wild because stores have them now. I mean, we're talking about a week until launch, pretty much. A week and a couple of days. Uh, Although it doesn't appear that anyone will need to worry about game-related spoilers flooding the internet where it launches. In a 7-second long YouTube short that has since been taken down by a copyright claim, user A2 Dubai filmed themselves opening Switch 2 retail box to reveal the console and Joy-Con 2 lying inside. When asked to record a longer video, A2 Dubai responded, "Nintendo locked the Switch 2. It needs update to function, so I'm waiting for June 5th to unlock it." After the video surfaced, someone reached out to Wario64 to add that they also have managed to secure a Switch 2 console early, but are unable to even boot an original Switch game on it. When they attempt to do so, they receive the message, "Please connect to the internet and update your system." News comes after retail packaging revealed that a system update is required to use micro SD express cards with the console. So, yes, we knew about a day one update. It's not surprising this is already out in the wild. People are just going to do whatever anyway. And so I'm not surprised that this happened this early. I was expecting like Monday next week to start seeing like full unboxings and people like getting like, because Walmart's going to break street date. That's what they do. They don't ever get punished for it. I assume by Wednesday we'll have people with their hands on the hardware early, because some GameStop in like Montana leaked everything. Internet required, strange but okay. Not really. They talked about this. Somebody talked about it a couple weeks ago in an article I didn't cover. But there was likely to be a day one update just right out of the gate, just because of this exact situation. I feel like they were like, "Hey, we're not going to put the full OS on the system, because if it does leak, it will be useless until we flip the switch to make it available for everybody." So, yeah, it's kind of weird. You're buying hardware that doesn't function right out of the box, but such is the norm, and we kind of had to deal with it. All right, let's move on. Maybe. There we are. All right, that's just cool. Mike Straw at Insider Gaming writes, Nintendo Switch 2 supports standard USB mice. This is interesting. Switch 2 will support standard USB mice in certain games. While it's known that the new Joy-Con 2 controllers on the console could function as mice, it has now been confirmed that a USB mouse can also be used. During a special look at the upcoming Nobunaga's Ambition Awakening CE, producer Michi Ryu was showing off the Joy-Con 2 mouse functionality. He then pulled out a wired USB mouse, plugged it into the Switch 2, and continued playing. Once you connect the USB mouse, a message will appear in the top left indicating that the mouse is connected. Ryu said via translation, "When the USB mouse is connected, it takes priority over the Joy-Con 2. While the USB mouse is used in the demonstration, While the USB mouse used in the demonstration was wired, there was no mention if wireless mice will also be supported." I had to grammar check that sentence while reading it, and it threw me off. You can check functionality in the video below, which has been timestamped to jump directly to when the USB mouse comes into use. I understand how a mouse works. I just thought it was neat that Nintendo added USB support for mouse, probably keyboard to some degree, because I think games like Fortnite will support mouse and keyboard on consoles. So I don't see why Nintendo would be any different, although it wouldn't surprise me, because Nintendo likes to do things their own way. But cool to see that if it's up to the developer to enable it, but with mouse support technically being on all Switch 2 games because of the way the Joy-Cons work, that's a cool alternative. Maybe a better mouse, a faster mouse would be super helpful. Competitive advantage on the Switch 2. It's going to be weird. Let's move on. Let's talk about Battlefront. We want to get the gang back together. StarWars Battlefront II Devs said they come back as player count skyrocket. Fans clamor for Battlefront 3 after Andor. Brendan Lowry writes on Windows Central, in the midst of a huge Star Wars Battlefront 2 resurgence, an ex-DICE developer that worked on the game says he and several of his former colleagues would come back to the series if given an opportunity. The comment comes from Mats Helga Holm, a developer that first worked on 2015 Star Wars Battlefront reboot and the 2017 sequel as a quality assurance analyst, before serving as associate producer on the latter's 2019 Celebration Edition and its upgrade. That added hundreds of new cosmetics to the Battlefield-style multiplayer shooter. When someone asked which developer they said they'd come back to Battlefront on Reddit, Holmes said the following: "Me and having heard around my group of ex-colleagues, we want to get the gang back together." So this comes after like the player count peaked really high over the last week. The all-time peak being 10,489, 24 hours at the time of the screenshot, which there's no date on that I can see. 9,292, which is crazy. It's almost back to like launch levels or post-fix levels. Because the game did launch with a bunch of criticisms and other stuff that like made people upset. And rightly so. I'm not saying it wasn't justified. It was just they had to fix the game, and then they fixed the game further. It's a statement that only adds further fuel to the roaring comeback that Battlefront 2 is making right now, with the game regularly climbing to player counts as high as 7,000 to 9,000, hitting a recent peak of 9,292 on Steam, according to SteamDB data. It may not seem like a lot compared to the tens of thousands of concurrent players that newer titles get, but for Battlefront 2, it's huge. For context, since breaking past 10,000 players in January 21, the 2017 shooter has only managed to hit a player count of 5,000 one other time. And that's just Steam. Battlefront 2 is also available on the EA app, Epic Games Store, Xbox Series X and S, Xbox One, PS5, and PS4. And can also be played by anyone with an EA Play subscription. That's how I've been playing it. Included in the PC and Ultimate tier of Xbox Game Pass. Fans are undoubtedly playing on those platforms as well, though there's no official way to track their numbers, according to popular creator Battlefront Updates. A reliable source says the game's total concurrent player count across all of them has risen as high as 160,000 recently, though that seems a little too good to be true. The reason for the resurgence has largely been attributed to a series of events and releases generating significant interest in the Star Wars franchise, including this month, May the 4th be with you celebrations, new themed galactic battle season in Fortnite. I mean, that's part of it for me personally. And critically acclaimed season 2 of the TV show Andor, that's been widely regarded as one of the best pieces of Star Wars media ever produced. And they say, in parentheses, seriously, it's phenomenal. All that hype has led to fans flocking back to Battlefront 2 and clamoring for a sequel on social media, with the hashtag MakeBattlefront3 and hashtag Battlefront3 hashtags currently trending. Even Andor and actor Muhammad bin Amor Wilman Pak lent his voice to the cause, commenting in an Instagram story that Star Wars got to give us Battlefront 3 ASAP, and that he grew up with Battlefront 2, been a veteran since day one. Let's hope Battlefront 3 happens. Which would be cool. I like when stuff gets like a resurgence because people want another one or a new one. And so I'm very much looking forward to how EA might respond, and would Respawn get to develop this. I think it would be great if they did. Not that DICE did a bad job on the Battlefront games, but they're very busy with Battlefield and their own projects. And I think it would be great if a team could just work on this separately, and we could get our Star Wars fix for space combat and ground combat in the Star Wars universe. I'm enjoying it though. I have streamed it a little bit, played offline a little bit, or at least off stream, and enjoyed so much. It's a very fun game. So I would say download it and show EA that you also want another Battlefront. Words are confusing. Anyway, get the Star Wars game and play it and enjoy it. All right, let's move on. It's our last article from Grant Taylor Hill, again at Insider Gaming. Shout out to Insider Gaming, who pretty much gives me most of the news for this show every week. Marathon marketing reportedly canceled as game delay rumors circulate. Marathon has found itself in a sticky spot in the last week or two. The game became the subject of an intense debate of plagiarism and immoral practices when it was discovered that the art team had featured stolen textures in the version of the game that folks have been playing. Now has been claimed that Marathon has canceled all planned paid marketing, suggests that a major delay or even a full-scale cancellation is on the horizon. Marathon was due to be released on September 23rd, but this latest debacle has thrown the hype train clean off the rails. I don't know that there was a hype train for this game. He goes on to say it's a fairly unusual move. In a recent episode of the Sacred Symbols podcast, Colin Moriarty of former IGN fame, explained, "I was told by someone familiar with marketing plans in a key overseas market that there are now no plans to do paid marketing for Marathon at all. I don't know if those plans were affected by what has recently happened or if that was always the plan or whatever, but it's considered a fairly unusual move for a game of this high profile. It seems highly unlikely that Bungie will meet the September 23rd release date, as the chatter around Marathon is now alarmingly negative. This is the fourth time in recent years that Bungie has found itself the subject of a plagiarism debate, and Marathon was already finding it tough shaping up in the extraction shooter space. It's worth stressing that Moriarty's comments are unconfirmed and are subject to being discredited by Bungie, but it gels quite perfectly with the consensus around the shooter. It's tough to see a world where Bungie is blind to the awful spot the game is. Bungie is blind to the awful spot the game is in and fully anticipates a strong launch. Do you think Marathon should be delayed? Let me know on Insider Gaming Forum. So, here's my take on all of this. You don't cancel a marketing budget without a good reason. If they're canceling the budget to just shadow drop the game at some point in the future, maybe not even do a delay, just it's going to release in September in whatever state it's in, and they're not making a big deal about it, that's not good because nobody's going to play it, and it's going to be a huge failure for Bungie. If they cancel it, it's an even worse failure. And then if they continue marketing it around all the negativity with the art issues, the toxic development environment, like a lot of that got circulated last week and the week before. So it seems like every week we're learning that Marathon is in trouble. But a lot of us kind of saw this from the get-go. Like, we looked at this and went, who is this for? And I've said it every time I've talked about it. I'm not sure who Marathon is for, but it's missing the mark on a bunch of different ways. So it's kind of weird to think that the game could just outright be canceled and not pull a Concord, or it could release and flop majorly. I don't know what's going to happen. It was going to be a multi-platform game, so it's not like it would be locked to just PlayStation. Every platform would have a chance to experience it, I think, except the Switch. So it's weird. It's unfortunate that devs have worked on this game, and then we've had people playing the alphas and stuff and giving feedback. A lot of people seem to enjoy what they played, but I'm looking at it and I'm like, I'm just not sure what it doesn't appeal to me personally, and I'm not the only one that feels that way. But Bungie fans have been playing it and talking it up and being hyped for it. Maybe they do like it. Maybe they're just caught up in the hype. I don't know. Maybe they should do a public beta once they get the art fixed and get like a better consensus on how people feel about the game. That's what I was trying to say. I don't know. It just sucks. If I was a developer, my morale would be in the toilet. Just given all of this news constantly. So that's where I'm going to leave it for the game news, though. What do you guys think of this story or any of the stories I covered? I don't know why I'm so fumbly tonight. Anyway, yeah, if you're watching on YouTube after the fact, thanks for watching. Hit the like and subscribe button. Thanks for watching. You guys have a great week. And if you only watch the game news, I'll see you next week. If not, hey, we updated the stream schedule. It's different, but we're going to go play video games now. So we'll see you later. Bye.